On the national stage, those warning lights are flashing every day for Joe Biden and his failing administration. One poll after another show the Democrats are in serious decline, real trouble all over the country. And if they can lose control of the city council in Houston, Texas, they can get beat anywhere on the map. That's a fact, and that happened this week. The frustration and the panic are evident everywhere you look. I mean, it is one poll after another showing Joe Biden's approval numbers are the lowest by far of any modern-day president, any one. And every one of those that were anywhere near his dismal numbers were defeated when they were up for re-election, including Jimmy Carter, who's the next closest to these numbers. Over at 538, the polling company run by Nate Silver, they showed Joe Biden with an all-time low in job approval in the average, too, which can sometimes be buffered by a couple of stronger polling results, but that can't prop up these sagging numbers, not now. It's miserable. And as of Monday, Joe Biden was in the hole more than 18 points with an amount of support of just 38%. Remarkable. Yet the Democrats keep claiming that everything is going well, but across the board, everything, and I mean everything, about this feeble commander-in-chief is being rejected. The two biggest issues, as you well know, the more Americans are talking about than anything else, the economy, the failure of Bidenomics, and the wide-open southern border. That is an existential threat to our nation. The economy and the border. By way of overwhelming our infrastructure, both of these are putting us at grave risk for unprecedented problems, including terrorist attacks from those people coming across the border. Some more positive polling numbers show the race nationally is a dead heat, while others show former President Donald Trump crushing Joe Biden. And the more people that are in the race, the bigger the victory for Donald Trump. And the real separation is now happening in the critical swing states, of which there are about half a dozen to talk about. Listen to this.
The news is not great for President Biden and his campaign. The numbers show Donald Trump leading in both Georgia and Michigan. In Georgia, a state Biden carried by a very narrow margin in 2020. Registered voters say they prefer Trump over Biden by 5%. In Michigan, which Trump won in 2016, but Biden carried in 2020, our poll now showing Trump 10 points up. Note that a full 10% of those polled in each state say that they wouldn't support either candidate. Trump's margin over Biden is significantly boosted in both states by people who say they did not vote in 2020. These less engaged voters favored Trump by 26 points in Georgia and 40 points in Michigan.
Yeah. And like I said, it's the economy and the fear of tougher days ahead that have people very worried about what happens next with their money. And could 2024 prove to be a very bad year for our money? Possibly. That's what people are worried about. Listen to this.
In the meantime, consumers like Reeves are still trying to stay on budget in the midst of ongoing inflation beyond just the holiday gifts.
I think more for me, it's thinking about things like gas, things like food, things that are required to get together with the people that you love for the holidays. We have to drive places, we have to spend money on food. And so just thinking about how those costs are stacking up.
Economy experts believe it could take until 2026 until inflation is under control.
Did you hear that? 2026 until inflation is actually under control. Hang on tight, kids. Meanwhile, Bidenomics, the thing that's keeping inflation in place until 2026, has been dropped by everyone as a talking point except Joe Biden himself. But it is Joe's senility that is also high on the list of people's concerns because it is so noticeable. And seriously, I want you to go with me down memory lane. Things that I can remember that Joe Biden can't. Is if you go back to the campaign trail in 2019 and 2020 and compare that to what we're seeing now, it is painfully obvious how far Joe has gone downhill. It is really sad and breathtaking. Compare and contrast. Watch this.
That's exactly right. He's a grown man. What I meant by that is, I hope you've thought this through. I hope you know exactly what you're doing here.
Meaning what?
That's all I meant. Nothing more than that, because I've never discussed my business or their business, my sons or daughters, and I've never discussed them because they know where I have to do my job, and that's it, and they have to make their own judgments.
The people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people. We've won with the most votes ever cast from presidential ticket in the history of the nation. 74 million.
I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway. It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end of such a momentous event,
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
Mr. President, made up Dr. Biden's house anniversary.
Well, President Harris led this effort to make things better in the countries from which they are leaving. All right. God save the Queen, man. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
And never, ever forget, America is a country that can be defined in just one word. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate that, Mr. President. Thank you, Joe.